She stopped eating. That was how it showed first. Year after year, the family made the same journey to Shiloh to worship. And year after year, Hannah came back the same way she left. Empty. She wanted a child, and she did not have one. And the other wife in that house had several. Scripture says plainly that the other woman provoked her over it, and kept provoking her, year after year, until Hannah wept and would not eat. Understand what that house was like. This was not one bad afternoon. This was a slow annual erosion, in a home where she had to keep passing the woman who was winning. And Hannah had a husband who loved her. That is the detail people skip. Elkanah loved her. The text says he gave her a double portion because he loved her. He was not a villain. He was not cold. He noticed she was crying, and he came over, and he asked her why. Then he said the thing, "Why are you weeping? Why are you not eating? Why is your heart sad? Am I not better to you than 10 sons?" Read it again and feel what it does. Every question he asked was really about him. Her grief was in the room, enormous, years deep, and he responded by asking why his love was not enough to cancel it. He wanted to fix her sadness by pointing at himself. He probably said it kindly. He probably went to bed that night believing he had comforted his wife. She got up and went to the temple alone. That is what women do. When the person beside them cannot hold the weight, they carry it somewhere else. She prayed there, and she was in such anguish that her lips moved without sound, and the priest watching her assumed she was drunk. Even the holy man in the story misread her. She had to explain herself to him too. She had to say, out loud, that she was not what he thought she was, that she was a woman pouring out her soul. And then something turned. Eli blessed her, and she went away, and the text says she ate, and her face was no longer sad. Nothing in her circumstances had changed yet. Nothing. She was still childless when she walked out of that building. But she had finally been heard, and being heard did something that a double portion of food had never been able to do. Being heard is not a small thing that people want on top of the real things. For a woman, it is very often the real thing. Maybe you know that difference better than you would like to. You have a man who is not cruel. He is not violent. He does not disappear for weeks. He is not cheating that you know of. If you tried to describe the problem to someone, they might look at you strangely because the sentence comes out sounding like nothing. He is there. He is just not reachable. So you have started going to the temple alone. Not a building, a car in a parking lot before you go inside. A long shower. A friend at 11 at night. A prayer you never say out loud. Somewhere that is not him. Because you have learned that bringing it to him costs more energy than carrying it by yourself. And you have gotten good at it. That is the part that should worry you most. Carrying things alone is a skill, and skills improve with practice. And a woman can get so competent at handling her own inner life that she stops noticing she is doing it entirely by herself, inside a relationship built for two. There are ways this shows itself, and they are worth naming, because a thing without a name is very hard to stop excusing. He answers feelings with solutions, or with himself. You say you are hurting, and he tells you what to do about it. Or he explains why it is not that bad. Or he becomes the wounded one, and by the end of it, you are the one comforting him. He goes quiet exactly when the conversation gets real. Everywhere else he talks easily. But the moment something requires him to say what he feels, the room empties. He gets busy. He gets tired. He answers in single words until you give up. And both of you pretend that the silence was a normal end to a conversation. He can talk about the future, just never with you standing in it. He has plans, ambitions, ideas about where he wants to be in 5 years. Ask where you are in that picture, and the picture goes blurry. He treats your emotions as a scheduling problem. You are tired. You are overthinking. It is the wrong time to get into this. Every feeling you bring is met with an assessment of whether now is a good moment to have it, and somehow it never is. You know his facts, not his interior. You could list his job, his schedule, his opinions, his family. You could not tell anyone what frightens him. 4 months or 4 years, and you still have not been let into a single room where something soft is kept. He pulls away hardest at the moment you need him most. A crisis comes, and instead of moving toward you, he moves back and calls it needing space. And you, being who you are, give him the space and handle the crisis alone and thank him for being honest about his needs. And the last one, the one that ends the argument you keep having with yourself. He is capable everywhere else. He shows up for his friends. He manages difficult things at work. He is not a man who cannot do hard conversations. He is a man who does not do them with you. Take a breath. That last one is heavy, and it deserves a moment. It is also freeing, if you let it be, because it takes the whole weight off the question you have been carrying. You have been asking what is wrong with the way you communicate, whether you were too much, or asked wrong, or picked the wrong moment. You have probably rehearsed a conversation in the car. None of that was the problem. Capacity is not something you can unlock with better phrasing. There is something else worth putting down, because you may have been carrying it as evidence against yourself. The fact that you can describe all 7 of these means you have been paying close attention for a long time. Women in this position are often accused of overthinking, usually by the person who benefits from them thinking less. You are not overthinking. You are doing the interpretive work of 2 people, alone, and calling the exhaustion from it a personal failing. And here is the piece that matters most, the thing that separates a hard truth from a hopeless one. Emotional unavailability is not always a wound. Sometimes it genuinely is, and a man is working on it, and you can watch him work on it. And progress is visible, even when it is slow. That man exists, and he is worth patience. But often, it is simply a preference. It is easier. Staying unreachable means never having to be responsible for what someone feels. A man can hold that position for a lifetime, comfortably, especially with a woman generous enough to keep translating his silence into something kinder. You are allowed to want to be known. That is not a demanding thing to want. It is the actual point of being with someone. And there is a way to tell the two apart without waiting years for the answer. A man who is genuinely limited and knows it will say so. He will tell you that this is hard for him, that he was raised in a house where nobody talked, that he wants to do better and does not yet know how. Then you will see him try, badly at first, and the badly is beautiful, because it is real. A man who is simply unwilling does something different. He turns the conversation around until the subject is your neediness rather than his distance. Watch which one happens the next time you raise it. You will not need a third conversation to know, and it is worth remembering how the story at Shiloh ends. Hannah got her son, and she gave him back, and Samuel became one of the great voices in the whole nation. But the turn in her story did not come the day she got what she wanted. The turn came earlier, in that building, when she stopped explaining herself to people who were misreading her and said everything to the God who was not. You have a God who never asks you why your heart is sad, in a tone that means please stop. He does not need you to shorten it. He does not get tired around the 4th time you bring the same wound. Scripture says he keeps track of your tossing at night. That is a strange, tender thing for the God of the universe to bother recording. You are a daughter of the King, and you were not made to be tolerated by someone. You were made to be known by someone, which is a completely different and much rarer thing, and it is not too much to hold out for. There is a quiet you are going to feel one day, sitting beside someone who asks a real question, and then stops talking, and waits for the whole answer. You will not know what to do with the silence at first. You may even rush to fill it out of pure habit, the way you always have. Let it be strange instead. Let it teach you what this should have felt like the entire time. If a woman came to mind while you were listening, the one who has been going to the temple alone, send her this letter tonight. She may not have the words yet, and this might be the first time someone hands them to her.